back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi. It has been one episode since we got to make fun of Matt Rempe going down to the AHL. He's back.
Yeah, you know what? We started off with it last time. We'll start off with him again.
Yep.
I mean, I should have done my homework. Well, they do play Washington tomorrow, so makes sense. Bring him back
Washington's
for a
been doing
game.
real good.
Send him back down afterwards.
Yeah, bring him up to fight Tom Wilson and then send him back.
I mean, you got to imagine, right? Like if you're sending him down and bringing him back right away, like he's going to be in the lineup against Washington, and then after that, I mean, if he has a good enough game, maybe sticks around.
Yeah, all you
Who
need
knows?
is one game.
Yeah, if he goes out there and makes a more positive impact than just being like, "Hey, watch me fight again." Hey, you know what? You never know.
Yeah, even if he just looks good defensively, like honestly, that's enough for most coaches in the league. Like, so that's all he's got to do. But we'll be sure to let you guys know if he gets sent back down. But
We'll be monitoring it.
That's not the only news coming out of New York. In fact, that's the smaller news for the Rangers. Alexis Lafreniere signed an extension, 7 years at 7.45 AAV. Damn, that's a nice contract, man.
I mean, first of all, good for Lafreniere. You know, the first couple years were brutal for him in New York, and it was really just looking like it just wasn't going to work out there. And you know, once he was finally just given an opportunity to play, because he never really got that much of an opportunity in his first couple years, he's been thriving and he's made it work. He's shown he can be an impact player. He can drive plays. He can, you know, he can get it done for the Rangers. And in a contract like this, that's pretty damn nice. You know, I'm not going to say it's a steal right away. But it's got a very good chance to be if he keeps progressing at the level that he's at right now and the trajectory that he's been going at. Yeah, it's going to be a nice contract for the Rangers there.
Yeah, like he just looks to get better and better every year. You know, former first overall pick, like it has every reason to be an incredible deal. It just has to, you know, end up being good, assuming he keeps playing well. But yeah, like that's going to take him through a lot of his best years. So, yeah, it's annoying because, you know, the Rangers are already good and they're getting a great deal. But, I mean, good for Lafreniere for beating the washed allegations, for sure.
Yeah. They really not much to say on it other than what we already said. But once again, like, yeah, congrats to him because that's, you know, it's crazy to think talking about a guy this young, but really kind of like a bounce back from, you know, coming into the league and pretty much experiencing the lowest of the lows that you can as a young player. Oh wow. We can't talk about it yet. But it is a tie game 4-4 now.
I also brought it up.
So we can't talk about it yet, but maybe there's a chance.
Utah just got scored on, and it's now 4-4 in the Utah Hockey Club game.
Yeah, nice goal too, though. Boys are buzzing. Beautiful. Love to see it. Good vibes the first yet. Time.
Maybe we'll get around to it afterwards, though.
Yeah, we'll keep soldiering on, and hopefully, I'm really hoping we can come back and talk about it.
In other news, there was a couple of other things that happened tonight. Steven Stamkos had his big return to Tampa Bay in when Nashville comes to town. He got 2 assists on their only 2 goals in a 3-2 overtime loss for them. They did a great video tribute, though, and the crowd was cheering for him like crazy. And even after they started the play, for the first, 3 minutes, they were chanting his name, giving him a standing ovation. Like, you love to see it, man. Like, yeah, dude deserves it through and through. So I'm glad it didn't seem like...
was awesome. It was really well done.
I think it was the ESPN feed, or I'm not sure which feed, but the one I was watching wouldn't frickin' show the video. It just kept showing Stamkos's face and then it'd show like John Cooper and Hedman, and it'd show Barry Trotz, and then some guy in the crowd. And I'm like, just show the video on screen, and then bring up a face cam that's like 30% of the screen, and it shows Stamkos's reaction to it. I don't need to see all these reactions at once. Like, I got to see like 30% of it on the live thing. I had to find it on Twitter afterwards. So that was a very strange design choice by the TV crew there, but the video itself was amazing, and everyone involved seemed super class about it. So you love to see it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I mean, it's still weird, like seeing Stamkos in a jersey that's not a Tampa Bay jersey. Like, it's still just weird.
He had a couple times where he almost buried it. Like, Vasi was on it, because if we had Johansson in the net, Stamkos would have at least had a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah, when you could tell he really wanted to get an opportunity to rip one in overtime. But great. I only really kind of watched the first 10 minutes to kind of see the video trim and whatnot, and then I watched like the final 5 minutes and then overtime. But like, he wanted to just get a shot off so bad in overtime, but Tampa played great defense to make sure he couldn't get that opportunity, because the whole thing they were talking about going into overtime was Patrick Kane last year and his big return to Chicago and whatnot, and what does he do? He gets the overtime winner. So
I was mentally prepared for it already. Like,
I wanted Tampa to win, but like, a part of me was like, man, I kind of want to see Stammer just fucking rip one. That would have been so cool, but
it was
not
nice
every
that
story has a happy ending. Yeah, and I mean, it was a good game from top to bottom.
Yeah, and he had a hand on both their goals as well. So considering he had 1 goal and 0 assists in 8 games so far this year, like, it was nice for him to have a really solid game.
Yeah, for him to actually get on the board again.
Yeah.
Speaking of other good games or interesting games, the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Winnipeg Jets 6-4. Winnipeg lost.
And in regulation, no less.
Yep, they started the season off 8-0. For those who want to count it for what it is, technically, in the eyes of the NHL, they tied the second place of what Edmonton set last year for longest regulation win streak. They finished last regular season with 8 wins in a row, and they started off this year with 8 wins in a row. So, I mean, 16 regular season games in a row that they won. That puts them tied for second all time. So, kind of went under the radar, being between 2 separate seasons, but I mean, still counts.
Wait,
it's a weird one, but
I was gonna say, what? So that's the second longest regulation win streak to start a season?
No, like regular season win streak. Because they won 8 at the end of last season. And then they won 8 to start this one.
Oh, okay, I see.
So it's kind of weird because it's spanned across 2 seasons. So it's like, kind of has an asterisk beside it, but like, it's technically still a 16-game win streak.
I feel like streaks are broken in the off season. Like, I feel like nobody really specifically says it, but I feel like people know it.
A lot of, I mean, technically it counts though. Like, it's weird. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, it should or shouldn't. I don't really give a shit either way. But like, technically it counts. So
I don't think so. An entire off season, it's so long. It's oftentimes a different team. Hell, it might be a different coach. There's all these.
Well, it is a different coach with Winnipeg.
Well,
they do have a new head coach. I mean,
but I see what they're getting at.
In the eyes of the NHL record book, they're up there.
Who do you give that record to? The 23-24 Winnipeg Jets or the 24-25 Winnipeg Jets? Because in the
23-25 Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, I
Huge.
don't know how they would write it down. I'd have to look into that. But
Yeah.
like
Maybe just
I mean
24, I guess.
they almost came back to win it as well, despite Toronto going up 4-1. Toronto almost lost that game.
Yeah. Well, they're no stranger to losing at 4-1 leads. So,
Oh,
yeah, you always got to be careful. You can score a lot of goals really fast in today's NHL. Like, you're really never that safe from a team coming
yeah,
back, unless they've just straight up been playing bad that game.
yeah.
But yeah, Toronto beats the Jets in regulation. Thank
Every
God somebody
team,
had to, man. The Jets looked freaking unstoppable for a while. Like they look
yeah,
nasty. Hellebuck
and
was in net for this too.
and again, this is like a Winnipeg team that we're kind of talking about them in our offseason review. People are kind of like a little bit down on them, being like, oh, look at all the pieces they lost. Like they were still like the top team in the Western Conference before grabbing Monahan last year, before grabbing Toffol. It's like they were already a good team. Really, the only loss from the beginning of last year, the beginning of this year, was losing Brendan Dillon, which, in my opinion, I think that does hurt him a fair bit. Because I thought he was really solid and could log big minutes for him and just play a good defensive game. But like, it's still relatively similar to the team they had last year. It's just you've now got Velarde's got a full year under his belt with Winnipeg. Cole Perfetti's got
Cole
another. Like
Perfetti's been
your
great.
younger guys have taken that next step and can kind of fill those roles a bit better. So like Winnipeg's a wagon right now. Uh, you know, like you win 8 in a row to start the season. Uh, you're a good team, and you're going to be a team that everybody kind of has circled on their schedule going forward because they know you're going to be a tough team to play against,
Yeah.
especially when
And
Hellebuck's in net.
yeah, like yeah, any of those teams that has one of those top like true top tier goalies on their team, like every team's already going into the game like hopefully we don't get absolutely blanked, but
Yeah.
um yeah, but that's some of the stuff that happened tonight. Another thing that happened tonight, Connor McDavid went down in his the Edmonton versus Columbus game earlier tonight. Looked like he tweaked his ankle or something. He went down into the boards. Uh like right at the start of the game too. He's heading back to Edmonton to be evaluated. He didn't play the rest of that game. Kind of hard to tell what the severity of it is. The Oilers did say after the game that it doesn't look too bad. They said, the quote was like, "We're not too concerned" or something like that. Um,
Which hopefully is the case.
yeah, hopefully, because I mean, it's just bad. It's just bad for the league when the best player goes down, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
hockey club's opponent has a power play in overtime, so
well, then
you
it's
know.
sure. Well, then it's surely it's in the bag.
Um. Oh, let's go. We can talk about the San Jose Sharks again.
They've
They
done it.
finally have a win. What a comeback
They've
win
done
too!
it.
Wow.
Well, they were down what 4-1 with
Wow.
like 9 minutes left.
Uh, they were down 4-1 with like 5 minutes left.
46-23 shots. Utah, what are you doing? Oh no.
Jake Wallman, 4 assists.
That guy
Oh,
I
so there we
I
go. Every team in the league now has a win and a loss after today.
yeah. I'll say
About
Jake
fucking
Wallman,
time.
he's good enough that I would keep him on my team and not pay a second rounder to get rid of him. Hot take, but
No, Stevie Y would disagree with you.
oh no. Oh no, why isn't Utah leaving the bench? Oh no, not like this.
No. No, it's a good goal. They're just being pissy because they lost.
There they
Yeah,
go.
they're
Now they're
leaving.
if there's anything to even look at, why not challenge it, right? What's the worst that happens? The
Exactly
game's
right.
over and you get a delay of game. Hell,
Yeah.
hell,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
would
Right.
uh if the refs weren't such babies about it sometimes, I would just be like, I'm challenging and then leave. I
Just
challenge
make
for
them go
offside.
review.
Just fucking leave. They go over, look at the iPad, go to make the call, and you're gone.
Wow, what a comeback win. That's
Absolutely
good
massive.
because I can't even imagine how fucking low the vibes were for the Sharks. That like just two shit starts to back seasons. It's got to feel good not only to get your first win, but to pull it off in that kind of fashion. Like, you're down 4-1, and in a game that I think San Jose actually outplayed Utah a fair bit. Like you look at the
Well, they
shots
almost had
alone,
50 shots.
and it was like you're looking at it 4-1 with 5 minutes left, and it's like holy fuck! Like, what does this team have to even do? Even when you have a good night and you're just dominating the other team, you just get goalied. So to pot 3 in the final 5 minutes to tie it up, and then win in overtime, like that's as good of a first win as you could possibly ask for. I mean, look
Yeah.
at opening night. They
I
were
was
up
gonna say,
4-1 on St. Louis and they lost in overtime, so they get to right some wrongs this time and be on the giving end of what in my opinion is the greatest comeback so far this season. And probably the entire season, let's be real.
oh
You
yeah,
let this Sharks
honestly,
team come
forever.
back from down 4-1 with 5 minutes. Yeah, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, that's good
All's right
stuff
in
right
my
there.
world again. All's right in my world now. Oh, never mind. Apparently, Jake Wallman didn't get an assist on the last one, but he still got 3 assists. So
Robbed. He should still be able to gritty. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. If only.
but yeah, like we were saying, it doesn't appear that it should be too serious for McDavid, but he's going back to Edmonton to be evaluated, so he won't be playing against Nashville in Edmonton's next game on their road trip.
Yeah.
What else do we got here? We got the Toronto Maple Leafs extended Jake McCabe 5 more years at $4.5 million per. Uh, Decent money, a little bit long contract, but
Especially
fair
for
value.
a guy who plays the way he does.
Yeah,
A guy who's he's just like a cannonball when he's out there. So those kind of extensions that take him, like, what does it take him to again?
it'll take
36.
him till he's 37. He is 31 right now, and he's got 6 years left.
So the last 2 years are probably going to be rough on that deal. But again, like it's only 4.5, so by then the
It
cap's only
should be
going to go
fine.
up, and in the final 2 years, you could probably get out of that deal. You could probably, assuming I don't think there's any clauses on this deal, and if there is, well, the Brad Treliving is just doing what he
Uh,
loves to do and give out
7-team
bad
no trade
clauses.
list.
Oh, okay, so yeah, then you could easily move him in the last year or two, whichever one you want to do.
Yeah, yeah. They got. We were even talking a little bit before we started recording here, how the Maple Leafs really have a lot of defensemen, older defensemen, signed for a decent amount of term. Like Morgan Riley's 30, he's got 6 years left. Chris Tanev is 34, he's got 6 years left. Oliver Lawson Tossum is 33 and he's got 4 years left. And then McCabe is at 31 with 6 years left. Uh, yeah, they got a lot of their veterans tied up on that blue line for quite some time.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
it
it's
they got a
Toronto,
lot of
so
yeah, they got a lot of top four guys, but not really that number one D man. I know Morgan Riley kind of is that guy, but like they don't have. I don't think they'd really have a clear cut number two in my opinion, which
yeah,
most teams generally do.
yeah.
Like those other three guys I mentioned are kind of all tied right there, honestly. But yeah, good for Toronto for actually locking in some of their guys and you know getting that done. It's interesting they went with McCabe considering how many unsigned guys they have on their forward core.
Sorry, what? Sorry.
They really went for extending McCabe when they have so many forwards that aren't locked in. Like they still have
Hmm.
to, I don't know how much
Yeah.
money they're gonna have next season, but they got to figure out what to do with Tavares, Marner, Nyes, Robertson, Pacioretty if they want to bring him back, Pontus Holmberg. Like They got some guys that they need to figure it out with.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like it's kind of weird when extensions like this. It's like, I mean, obviously the two big ones, Marner and Tavares. We know Tavares is going to, take a pay cut. He's going to have a much cheaper contract. Marner, I don't know. I'm still on the belief that he's going to re-sign with the Leafs at some point. What does the contract look like? Couldn't even tell you. It's definitely more than Nylander's 11.5. Um,
Are they going to be able to do that though? Like the amount of the insane amount of criticism this team's got for paying their top guys so much. Are they really going to be able to have three guys making over 11 and a half?
no, no, but if Toronto trades Marner, Toronto's losing that trade. If you're trading a guy of the caliber and skill of Mitch Marner, wherever you send him to, you're not getting enough value back to make up for that.
I think you can.
Not if you're the Leafs though. When you're in a win now window, like you're going to be getting probably like I don't even know what a team that would want Marner, what a realistic offer would be. Like the only team I've heard of that was seriously interested in making a trade was obviously Vegas, but it's like, what I don't know what Vegas would give up for a Marner. Like,
that's fair. Like maybe a couple of defensemen are in there, but yeah, it's hard to know exactly what it looks like, but I do think there is a route they could take where if they get the right trade, they could come out on top. Or at least it could benefit them. Not even that it would be better for them than the other guy, but clearing you're clearing 10.9 mil off the cap moving him plus whatever his raise would be on the next contract. So
I mean,
right there,
probably
you're getting value in your cap space. But on top of that, it's Mitch Marner. You could get a lot of stuff back for him.
but that's what I'm saying. The stuff you're getting back, you're not going to be getting like impact roster players most likely. Like maybe one or two, but like you're probably getting more picks and prospects, I would imagine, unless you're getting like one of the pieces is like a massive one. Like for example, with Vegas, if I mean
Shea
it's not going to
Theodore.
happen now, but yeah, like Shea Theodore,
That
like
was my
he's already
first thought.
signed
If he
that
didn't have
extension,
that,
so he's not getting moved. But it's like, if it was something like Shea Theodore, that takes up a big part of the value, and then it's maybe like, I mean, Vegas doesn't really have the luxury of having first round picks, but it'd be like, maybe a first, a second, and two prospects or something, along with like a Shea Theodore type player. Um,
yeah.
but again, yeah, I don't know. I'm just still on the belief that Toronto re-signs Marner, and they just say we're gonna figure it out with these guys.
I think they probably will. I think they probably will re-sign him. It's just I don't think that's a recipe for success. I think if you signed him for 11 and a half or 12 mil, I think he'd probably be worth it at that price point, but I don't think he'd be
It just
worth it
doesn't work
for
with Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah, in
Yeah,
their situation with the other guys making that much. Like
yeah,
it anybody short of Connor McDavid is not worth their contract if you have five of them. Like
yeah.
as juicy as a line of three Austin Matthews would be, if they're making $40 million on your cap, then your team's gonna be dog shit. So
Yeah.
that's just the way it works. But who knows? Maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they'll just turn it on and win the cup. Like maybe they'll just be good in the
Oh,
playoffs.
let's not get crazy here.
They have a team that they could do it. They just kind of haven't done it yet. Like if they win next year or had one in the past, I wouldn't have ever really been that surprised. They've got the team. They just haven't. Like
I mean,
they're not that
I know
upper tier of
you're not gonna like this
contenders,
because
but
you're the biggest Joseph Wolf fan I know. But I mean, if they just say, "Hey, Stolars is our guy for this year," I mean, the way he's been playing, that clears up one of their concerns. Uh,
yeah.
of goaltending that, his uh, not been very consistent or very high end, the last couple years. But if Stolarz keeps going the way he's been going, like he can be a
Yeah,
workhorse for them, and could provide some really good value for them in an area that, again, they really haven't had much success in.
yeah, and honestly, we don't know what Stolarz can really do. Like, he's, he's had several years in the NHL. Like, I'm looking at his stats right now, where he's put up a 926, 917. Last year, he had a 925, but also in 27 games. He's been a career backup or at best a 1B option. We don't know if he can be a starter, but he's had really good numbers. Like looking at his stats, he is a legitimate elite backup. Like
Yeah,
a career 915
yeah.
save percentage, but he's never played enough games. So, if he can handle putting up relatively similar numbers over 50 games, 55 games,
Like
like
that's huge. That's huge for Toronto.
they got a big piece of help and a good chance there.
Yeah. But enough with the Leafs talk.
Enough with the Leafs.
Do we have anything else? What's been a
Um,
very slow few days around the league. Just quick recap for those who skipped the first little bit. If you're one of those people, San Jose got a win finally, so we can now finally talk about them
we can talk
again.
about him. As soon as I saw that it went from 4-2 to 4-3, I was like, hold up, it might actually happen.
They love
Um,
those comeback wins.
they love them.
They had a
They
couple
love
of them
them.
last year. They had the one against Vegas in the preseason, and now for those saying, "Oh, it's just preseason," Vegas had all their guys in. San Jose was playing a bunch of guys that are currently in the AHL. So that comeback still counts to me, despite it being in the preseason.
Oh, hell yeah. Of course it counts.
But you said you have something.
I do. So, as far as I can tell, this is a complete list. It might have missed some, but it looks pretty full. I have a list here of every active NHL player that has a 100-point season. There are currently playing 24 NHLers who have had a 100-point season, and we're going to see how many of them you can name.
Oh fuck! How are we gonna keep track of it if there's 24?
Vibes.
All right, fuck. Good point. Good point. All right,
There, there's
let's
a
just
couple.
get
There's a couple of easier ones that you could rattle off, I'm sure.
let's just get the big one out of the way. Jonathan Huberdeau.
Jonathan Huberdeau, he's on here.
Just
How'd
get
you
the
know
big
that?
one out of the
How'd you
way
know?
early on.
You're crazy.
Yeah, lucky guess. Well, I guess we'll
Now that you
throw out
got the
the
layup out
other
of the way.
guy. Yeah, we'll get the other guy out of the way that's in that trade. Matthew Tkachuk.
Yep.
Great 1-for-1 swap.
All trade was 1-for-1.
Okay,
Except
so
it
that's
wasn't.
2. McDavid,
Yep. McDavid.
Crosby.
Seven of them for McDavid, by the way. 6
Oh,
for
jeez.
Crosby.
Draisaitl,
Draisaitl, 5 of them.
Ovechkin.
Ovechkin's got 4 of them.
Are you keeping track of how many I have? Because I'm not.
I'm keeping track of which ones you've said. I think you've got
Okay.
7.
Kucherov.
Kucherov's got 4 of them.
Eric Carlson.
Erik Karlsson's got 1, but it was
Only
a big one.
defenseman. Only defenseman on that list.
Yep, I think
Um,
he's also the only one who is a negative in it, but I don't think that's his fault.
yeah, I mean, fuck. No one was a positive on that Sharks team.
25 goals too. Like obviously you got 101 points actually, but
Yeah,
still
25
25
tucks
goals.
too. Yeah. Um, Gino,
Gino's on here. He's got 3.
3. Jeez,
Not a top
I thought
100
he might
player
have had
though,
more.
apparently.
Yeah. Don't know who came up with that. Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane's got 2.
I don't even know how many I have. How many I've said already?
You've said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've
10.
got 10 of 24.
Wow, fuck.
You've got a couple of guys who have done it twice that you haven't mentioned. Most of them, I think all of them actually hit it last year as well.
Just trying to think around. Oh, Austin Matthews.
Matthews has 2.
Mitch Marner.
Mitch Marner does not have one.
No, fuck, he got to 99. That's
He
right.
got to 99.
Nylander didn't get to 100 last year. Oh, Nuge does, though. Nuge had
he was so close and he didn't. He freaking
Nuge had the
it.
craziest 100-point season ever.
Yeah, 104 points.
104.
Got a couple big ones from last year still. Couple big hitters.
Stamkos does.
Yep, Stamkos has 1.
Does Braden point?
He does not.
Wow.
I think he hit 97 or 96 a year or 2 ago.
Fraud. Pasternak.
Pasternak's got 2.
Marchand.
Marchand has 1. He scored 100 points in a season. Exactly.
Shit.
There's one team that you're missing that's got 2 of them up there. It's a big one.
Oh, fuck.
You got it.
I can't think of the team. The team name's blanking on me. Colorado. McKinnon and Rantanen.
Yeah, they both have 2.
Maybe Makar after this year. Who knows?
Freaking looks like it so far. What is he at? 9 games played and 18 points. I think he's still leading the league in points.
Yeah. JT Miller does.
JT Miller 1.
And then Elias Pettersson.
Elias Pettersson's got 1.
I've got to be getting close.
I think you're only missing 5.
And
they're all further down the list. All of these guys left, I'm pretty sure, only have 1 season they've done it.
Panarin.
Panarin's
I know he did. I know he's. Does he have 1 or 2? 2, right?
Just 1 apparently, but he
just
hit
120
points last year.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good conversion rate though.
I'm just trying.
Is that 4
Kaprizov?
Left? Yep,
he hit
100. 108. 3 left. One of these guys did it relatively recently. I don't think the other 2 did. And honestly, I don't know if I would have got the other 2. They don't scream 100 points to me, but they did it.
Okay.
I want to say this guy.
I don't need no hints.
Oh well, you got to get him then.
Not hints, but Jason Robertson.
Jason Robertson.
Yeah.
109.
I was like Dallas. Dallas had 1. Oh yeah, because Robertson didn't.
Yeah. So there's 24 guys on here. You're missing 23 and 24. They're both the bottom listed guys.
Oh, right on.
102 points and 101 points.
I'm kind of. I think I've cleared everything on the West. I don't think either guy is.
Yep, you're correct. They're both in the East. These guys are both like career playmakers. They can put the puck in the net, like they both had over 30 goals in these 100-point seasons, but they're both known for their playmaking.
Okay. Tim Stutzel didn't.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He's a bum.
Oh, Giroux did though.
Giroux did. Claude Giroux,
Claude Giroux
102
did, yeah.
points. One left, and you know what? It's very fair because this is the one guy that has an asterisk beside him when you say active player. Because he hasn't retired.
Technically. Not active.
And it's not Yager.
100 points. Well, it would have to be Nicholas Backstrom then.
It is Nicholas Backstrom.
If you didn't give me that hint, I wouldn't have got that. Because I was just trying to think of guys that are like still actually playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's technically not retired. Yeah. But like he also kind of is retired.
Yeah.
If you didn't give me that,
I
would not have gotten Backstrom.
Yeah, there's a couple of names I think I probably would have missed. I don't know if I would have said. I might have said Marchand. I don't think I would have said Giroux or Backstrom. But like,
well, Giroux was just a throwout guess because I was like, I wouldn't have gotten Backstrom without you though. That one I know for sure. So I wouldn't have even thought of him because he's, in my mind, he's technically retired.
Yeah. He's just collecting that paycheck because obviously.
I mean, why not, right? Like he's earned it.
Yeah.
If anyone's earned it, it's him.
But yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good little exercise in hockey knowledge. It's got all their stats in here throughout those games, and it's wild looking at some of them, especially because like it combines all of their points and all their stats from all of their 100+ point seasons.
Oh, yeah.
So like for McDavid, it's got him at 837 points in 536 games. Like, what a mutant!
How many points?
837.
Damn. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's crazy. But yeah, that's the little extra thing I had there. If that's all we have left for this one, though, it's a little bit shorter one, but we didn't really have much going on in since the last episode a weekend ago. There's really not much more to go over.
No, it's been a quiet week. Like it's still early on in the season. Eventually, we know how this works, right? We sit here for 3 weeks and we're like, man, there's no news, nothing going on. And then before we know it, we're gonna get it's just gonna downpour the bunch of stuff, and then we're gonna be sitting there like, shit, how do we cram all this into one? Because there's so much going on. So we're preparing for that. We know it's coming eventually. But yeah, right now it's slow couple weeks in the office here. But that's fine. We know it'll pay off once the inevitable downpour of news and maybe trades. Who knows? I feel like we're due for a trade at some point. I've heard, kind of rumors thrown out here and there that there could be some moves happening. So we'll keep an eye out on those,
dude. And
see what happens.
Looking at the standings, like these teams are jumping all over the place. Like I'm pretty sure last podcast, the Atlantic top 3 was Florida, Tampa, Ottawa. Ottawa is in 8th in the Atlantic now. They're now dead last in the Atlantic. Like they jump all the way.
They lose like 20 in a row?
No, they lost 2 in a row. That's all it takes.
Yeah, I guess that'll happen.
Yeah, they've got 8 points, and then the Bruins, Canadians, Red Wings, and Sabres all have 9.
Flyers are 2-6-1. I was kind of hyping them up the other weekend. Maybe
they're only 1 point above the Sharks now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you win one game and all of a sudden you're in danger of falling out of last. Like it's crazy.
Genuinely, I would be shocked if San Jose finishes anything else other than 32. Let's be real. Like they got to win. It's nice we can actually talk about them. They're not banished from this podcast anymore. But like, fuck, if there's a team that finishes below them, oof, that team's in a rough spot. That team's in trouble.
Yeah. Luckily, the Flames got off to a good start. The Blackhawks have put together a couple wins, including a win tonight, 5-2 win, I believe, over the Colorado Avalanche.
So does that mean Chicago's only wins? Oh, never mind.
Like, a lot of the lower down teams have been doing great to start the year, honestly. Like, even Anaheim, it's not great, but like 3-4-1. Like, people had them like almost guaranteed a bottom five team in the league. Columbus has 9 points in 8 games. Like, and I don't even know if that includes tonight where they pounded on the Oilers 6-1. So it's the start of every season is a little weird, but it feels a little extra weird this year, doesn't it? Like, am I
It kind
crazy for
of,
that?
yeah. No, I completely agree with you. It is also we're in Halloween season. We got Halloween coming up here on Thursday, and the NHL decided to treat us with a little scary movie action. Uh, the only evening game, the only game that'll be on late in the evening for everyone's enjoyment on Halloween is the Chicago Blackhawks versus the San Jose Sharks. So
Oh
if you
God,
if you love watching scary
that
stuff,
is
well,
scary.
that is this is right up your alley then, as two very bad teams uh, go head to head. Unfortunately, would be a little bit more exciting if Celebrini was back, because we obviously didn't get to see Bedard versus Celebrini in their first meeting. Won't get him, unfortunately, for this meeting, which would have made the game much more exciting, getting to watch those two play against each other. Um,
Like, is there
yeah,
is there really
and
any
then
update
they
on
don't
him?
play each other until March 13th. Big day, March 13th.
Oh hell
Um,
yeah!
sorry, what'd you say?
Oh hell yeah!
No. You
I'm
had,
getting
oh,
excited for
like
that.
with Celebrini?
Oh, I was wondering when if there's any news on when he's coming back.
No, it t- was it Tuesday last week? Or no, it was a week ago. Last Monday, the Sharks said he's rolled out for at least 2 more weeks. So won't know anything until a week from now, next Monday.
Fair enough. But
But hey,
yeah,
team finally got a win, so
massive,
there's
massive
something
dub.
to be excited about with the Sharks finally once again.
They've had a couple
Um,
of guys consistently putting up numbers too. They got Eklund, Toffoli, and Zetterland. That've been
no, you're forgetting the big one. Come on,
is it Jake? Is it Jakey
no,
Wall?
Mikael Granlund.
Oh, Granlund, what a
After
beast!
tonight, 5 goals, 13 points in 10 games. He's
Pencil him in
been
for the Art Ross.
he's been lighting the lamp up, and it's an interesting one because I know that also your boy Jack Thompson, 3 assists in 4 games.
There you go. I told you he was
Um,
gonna be good.
I will say the Granlund one's interesting because I know that the Sharks are apparently open to keeping, like, re-signing him and keeping him around, because he's been, first of all, fantastic player for them. Like, he led the team last year, putting up really good numbers on a really bad team, and then again this year, like, being the clear workhorse and leading the charge for the team. So it's like, do you re-sign him and then have him be part of your team going forward, or like do you cash in and try and get like a haul back for him at the level he's playing at? Because you know whatever you trade Granlund for, if you do, that also kind of comes back to be like this. That's part of the Eric Carlson package, because Granlund was just kind of a throw in to make the numbers work, and now San Jose might actually be able to cash in and get
Yeah,
another really. They might be able to get a bigger haul back for Granlund than they initially did for Carlson,
yeah. Like
which
that
is
seems
pretty absurd.
very
But like,
likely,
it's,
honestly.
yeah, the way he's been playing, most definitely.
Yeah, that could be huge for recouping some assets and bringing in some more guys for the rebuild. Like that could be real nice for him.
What feels like the world's longest rebuild.
And well, you haven't been a Buffalo
Any,
fan.
very good point. See, but the thing is, Buffalo just keeps going through different rebuilds. This isn't one big long rebuild. This has been multiple rebuilds. They just keep on linking up to each other,
Yeah,
and they are currently 4-5-1.
4-5-1. Not great.
No,
They're not out of it, but
no. I
it's
mean,
not looking awesome.
realistically, you know, there's a few teams at the bottom. It's like, yeah, like they're out of it, but like, I mean, they're like it's still wide open. It's just been such a weird start to the season, like you said. There's teams I'm looking at like they should be doing better than where they're at. Like Edmonton again, off to another really rough start. Uh, New Jersey kind of got off to a bit of a hot start and has kind of really cooled off lately. Uh, the biggest thing we were talking about with Detroit was, the team on paper looks really good. It's just the
Goaltending.
goaltending we're unsure of. And you're looking at the team, it's like it's kind of the exact opposite. Their goaltending has been fucking rock solid. When they lose,
Almost carrying them at
it's
times.
because of the team in front of the goalies. Right. So it's just been a very weird start to the season.
Yeah, we
So
thought
yeah,
Boston would
like
be propped up by their goaltending and their blue line. Turns out, no, they're going to be propped up by their checks notes fourth forward line. Like,
yeah.
I don't. Yeah, a bizarre start to the season for a lot of teams.
And then a team that gives some love to them, the Columbus Blue Jackets, like
They're
um
playing well.
4-3-1 on the year. But like you look at their wins, 6-4 win over Colorado, 6-4 win over Buffalo, 6-2 over Toronto, and then 6-1 over Edmonton tonight. Like, they're I mean,
Toronto,
let's not act
Edmonton,
like and Colorado.
Colorado. Those are
Like
good teams.
let's not act like those teams are defensive powerhouses or anything or really thrive in their own end. But like to pot six against all of them and you know not only
Doesn't
that,
happen by accident.
what was I know the Toronto one was I think they got up to a 4-0 lead. Edmonton, they were up on them 6-0 until the final 30 seconds.
Yeah, like
Like they're
they're
playing good
looking
hockey
good.
and they're beating good teams. So they're a team as well that's kind of making a little bit of noise early on in the Metro.
Yeah, like their top line, especially of Chenikov, Monahan, and Marchenko, has been really solid for them.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, the
Did we
teams look
cover that
they've looked really
LeBanc
good.
signed there?
Yeah.
I kind of thought that he was on a PTO there. I didn't ever hear if he actually signed, but he's on
He
the
was
third line.
on the no, because we talked about because he was on a PTO with New Jersey and was actually playing really good. I think he had like 5 goals in 2 games or something. He was playing out of his mind really good.
Yeah,
But New Jersey already because New Jersey was already over in where were they in Prague?
something like
Wherever
that.
they were for the Global Series, they weren't able to sign LeBanc and actually put him on the roster. They would have had to sign him, put him on waivers, and send him to the AHL. So Columbus kind of came in and said, "Hey, can we just sign him? Can we get him then? If you guys aren't gonna do it." So then they ended up signing him.
Hell yeah, man! Like get him a chance to play and see what he can do. We know he's at least can be an NHL caliber talent.
Yeah, he's more than capable. Like I'm surprised it even came down to him having to get a PTO. To be honest with you, that one kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Matthew
like
Matthew
early on,
Olivier
good
on their
start.
fourth line. Fourth line on the Columbus Blue Jackets, 4 goals in 8 games, 6 points. Like,
I like Boston's fourth line better, but
not everyone can be Boston's fourth line.
yeah, that is true. Oh, speaking of fourth lines, last bit of news I got before we start to wrap this up. Matt Martin signing a
Yeah,
1-year deal to join the New York Islanders once again. The man who, yeah, like when you think of the Islanders, Matt Martin's one of the guys that you kind of think of. Just he's been such a big part and personality of that team
yeah.
uh, for quite a long time, despite his little departure to go to Toronto for a bit. Um, I like it. I like it for the Islanders. He's not going to be a guy that you're like, oh, he's playing every night. But you also look at that Islanders team, and you kind of need you need a Matt Martin, right? Like, especially in that division when, Philly's got Delorier, the Rangers got Rempe back now, Washington's got Tom Wilson. Like, you kind of need a tougher guy on your team that's willing to drop the mitts with those guys.
Yeah.
And bringing Matt Martin back is the perfect guy who will have no problem being in the lineup just to protect his teammates and stand up to those other guys if needed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just been such a staple for them there.
He's just
Like,
a
it just makes
dog.
so much
He's
sense.
awesome.
But yeah, I think that's about all we got for this one. I will be also on vacation for the first part of November, so we might not have a Friday episode next week, but we're going to pre-record 1 or 2 episodes, and we're going to have enough that we can still be putting some stuff out while I'm gone, but shouldn't be missing out on too much action there.
As soon as you leave, that's when all the news is gonna drop. I hope you know that.
The worst part is I'm going to be on the plane, and I'm going to
Yeah.
land, and it's going to be like, oh, okay, cool.
Just have like 50 different texts me being like, yeah, all this shit's going down. Like,
Yeah, the Leafs traded Morgan Riley to free up cap space for both Tavares and Marner's extensions. Like,
the thing is Brad Treliving would do shit like that.
he's crazy.
He would do that.
Morgan Riley for Jonathan Huberdeau, 1-for-1.
I mean, Huberdeau's been balling out. Not tonight for Calgary. Calgary's getting throttled by Vegas currently, but I think Huberdeau's looked really good. So
He looks really good. Yeah.
and that's exactly what Toronto needs, isn't it? A guy who's only pass first, not shoot.
Yeah.
Exactly what Toronto needs.
Could you imagine though if he goes back to being the playmaker he can be? Him and Marner on the same line with Matthews. Matthews just shoots everything.
Matthews could tuck 80 with those two.
Yeah. He's going for the 100-goal season.
But that does wrap up everything we have for this one. Again, slow news day around the league, slow news week. We're just waiting for that ball to drop on all the news. But we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, anyone wants to talk hockey, you guys got any questions, or just, again, while not a lot of news, if there's if you want us to talk more about your team or anything around hockey you want us to talk about, you can let us know through any of our socials. Links are in the description of every episode. Come throw us your questions, any talking points you want, and yeah, we'll take care of that. Braden, any final words before we depart out of here?
Nothing but congratulations to the San Jose Sharks on their first win of the season. That's a massive dub.
Feels good. They were it just kept getting worse. It really did. First, it started off, they were the first team to lose 7 games in a row in back-to-back seasons. That was since the California Golden Seals. And then it was losing 8 in a row in back-to-back seasons. I believe the most recent team to that was like the Bruins way back in the day.
It was like 1970 or something like that.
And then the cherry on top was when they lost on Saturday to the Vegas Golden Knights. They were the first team in NHL history to lose 9 games in a row in back-to-back seasons. So they just had to make sure they got to the very lowest point that an NHL franchise could ever be at before pulling off, again, what is going to be the comeback win of the season already.
Absolutely huge.
Wild roller coaster wave of emotions, but we are all here for it. I think that wraps it up, though.
Yeah, that wraps it up real nice.
Perfect. Well, once again, we do thank all of you for tuning in. Every NHL team now has a win. Every NHL team now has a loss. Yeah, that's about it. Braden, I guess this is your final, more live one before we kind of do our pre-recorded ones. You go on vacation, so hope you enjoy your vacation. We expect lots of shirtless vlogs from you on the TikTok.
Oh
That
yeah,
is
I'm
that is
gonna
your
go
only
full
require.
Kucherov mode.
That is your only requirement during your vacation. But hope you have fun and look forward to discussing all the craziness of the live NHL news when you get back.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. And I'm just gonna throw it out there. Prediction for when I get back. The San Jose Sharks they will not be in 32nd in the league when I get back.
Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo.
And unfortunately, it's gonna be the Flyers. So
That is a hot take. That
oh
is a very hot take.
yeah, well
I
we'll
love
have
it.
to see.
I love it. I can fully get on board with that. I look forward to seeing where they're at when you get back. But once again, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on Friday.